costs $300. So it's a little bit pricey, but there's really good reasons for this. So I'll start with the screen and I'll work my way down. So basically they're touting this as not only a gaming peripheral device, like a gaming mobile device that you can take on BART with you or take on a subway or whatever, but they're also toting it as a Android tablet as well, because this 5-inch tablet has Jelly Bean already, worked into it, already installed. Already cooked in, yes, exactly. So let me start with the screen on this guy, and I'll set it down so we can get some close-ups of it. So this is a 5-inch screen. It's 1280 by 720 IPS. So it has great, really, really nice turning ratios on there. So I can turn it either way I want, and it looks beautiful. I can also tilt it back and forth as far as I want to. No problems. And it's also touch. So I can install all of my Google Play apps on here and get to them on the screen. But to be completely honest, when I hold it with my hands on the controller, I don't really want to reach up with my two hands up here and press buttons on the touch screen. So what I normally do is I use this little mouse that shows up with the analog stick, and I can control it with that. And the other analog stick works kind of as a selector, so I can move around and click on different things. So
is that natural? Is that a natural movement on the mouse?
Yeah.
Like, did you like using it?
I did, yeah. Actually, I really did. So it's kind of interesting. This 5-inch screen is just slightly bigger than my iPhone 5 screen. So it's a pretty decent viewing screen, and because of the resolution, it's really nice to actually watch videos on or whatnot. If I click on YouTube up here, the resolution is beautiful for an episode of Before You Buy. Yes, density. It is very, very sharp. I was watching this and I could see Leo's pores. It was kind of creepy.
Okay.
But it is awkward whenever you want to type in text. So if I wanted to search for Before You Buy on here, I had to come up here and type with teeny tiny fingers, Before You Buy. And I will pause that.
Could you use the thumb pad, the little joystick to move around the keyboard?
You can.
But that's tedious.
Yeah, you can, but it is very tedious. It's honestly a lot easier to just move your hands up and type in whatever you need. But for text specifically, it is still kind of a pain in the butt because you have to move from the controller up to the screen and back and forth.
By the way, the sound on that actually was pretty
the audio is my second thing. So the audio is really, really loud. So if I turn this up all the way, I'll go back to that video. And they have a physical audio button on here that I can click, and I can pull it all the way up. So the speakers are right here, these two guys right here. The nice thing is, if you're playing music on here, and you move this down, it gives you a little bit more of a directional sound, so it'll get even louder for you. And because the bottom of this is made with little rubber padding, it's not going to rumble, it's not going to vibrate into your table or anything like that, and you're not going to find it vibrating and causing a bunch of distractions when it's moving around for you. It's nice and sturdy, so you can move it around and not have any problems with the audio. The audio was a big plus for me. I really like that. Now the hardware on this, other than having the rubberized bottom on it, it is 1.5 pounds. So it is a little bit more heavy than other, gaming devices out there. The 3DS, I believe, is less than 1 pound. The Vita is also very, very lightweight. So this one is pretty much the heaviest on the market at the moment. That might be a con for you, depending on how much you're willing to carry in your backpack. Honestly, after putting in my laptop and everything else, it does add a little bit of weight, but it's not necessarily that obvious. And the ports on the back of this include, there we go. All right, so I have a micro USB, and that's specifically for charging. I also have a headphone jack, which is really nice. So I'm not going to bother everybody on BART with Angry Birds or what have you. I also have a little micro SD card slot, which is excellent because you can also add in, data. You can put your photos in here and view those and your music and whatnot. Although games do require you to actually have them on the inside of this. The inside of this can hold 16 gigs of internal storage. So not too bad. It's quite a lot of gigs of internal storage. And then, of course, I also have the mini HDMI port right here for any kind of, external
full-screen gaming.
Full-screen gaming, exactly. So this is kind of weird. This thing is called the lid.
What?
So you'd think
You broke it.
You'd think there was a reason for this. It's this little plastic lid that magnetically hops back on there, and it is just for customizing. So you can put a different color on there. Yeah, you can change colors. It's just an accessory. That's it. I was kind of hoping that it would have like NFC capabilities or some really cool thing that it could do, but it doesn't.
Not just be the best or like the quickest thing to get lost.
Yes, exactly. The magnetic strip on the back of it is pretty strong, but it's just there to be there, and it costs $20 per lid if you want to buy extras. Yeah, so it comes with the silver one, but there's a black one, a carbon fiber one. Woo! If you want those.
You could probably even get a gold
I think it's kind
one.
of ridiculous, but that's
I
just
love
me.
gold.
I love gold.
All right, like, but when it comes to the gaming.
Okay, I'm gonna save that for last.
Oh, okay.
Because I'll definitely get into the gaming. So the software on this is Android. It's Android Jelly Bean. It's 4.2.1. So it's very nice. It's, you can download all your regular Google Play games on here that you want to play. You can also check Twitter on here. You can do things like that. It doesn't have a camera on the front or the back, so you can't do Skype calls. You can't take pictures, nothing like that. It also can't do any phone calls. It's just Wi-Fi only, unfortunately.
And it's not like a LTE or...
No, it's not. Yeah, they don't have any ties into any kind of carrier at all. It's just Wi-Fi. So there is this neat little standpoint that it has with PC streaming for gaming. I'll get into in just a moment. But basically, once you leave your house, it just turns into a glorified gaming mobile Android device, basically. So it does have really, really long battery life, which I like. 10 hours of complete non-stop gaming portable, fun times on here. And it does take 4 hours to charge. I did test it. It can actually hit 10 hours, like if you're nonstop playing on it. So that's
nice.
Not bad at all. I can't hit that on my iPhone, so that's kind of a comparison. So this thing called PC streaming, this is when you take this and you can connect it to your PC and you can play games off your PC onto this 5-inch portable gaming device. So basically what you do is you go on there and you find games in your Steam community or your Steam library that you've already downloaded on your computer. And you can have those stream over to the NVIDIA Shield, and you can play them while you're walking around your house if you're like on the toilet or something and you want to play games.
Sure.
Because I guess, some people do that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a ball.
Yeah, so this is still in beta. It's a little bit laggy. I, unfortunately, don't have the correct capability to be able to do it in my household. You have to have a GeForce, I believe it's the GTX 650 or higher, a video graphics card. So, unfortunately, mine, I built my computer like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't have that one. So I wasn't able to try this out. But from what I've read with everyone is basically you can do it. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little perk. But it still has a long way to go because it is a little bit laggy. It does get disconnected from your computer. So there are going to be quite a few problems with it as far as that
And anything
goes.
that you love so much that you are playing it on the toilet means that you care a lot about that game, which means that you are going to be upset all the more if it drops out in the middle of it or in some way screws up what you're trying to do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that would really tick me off if in the middle of my like Team Fortress 2 game, it dropped out and like I just had a headshot.
And just a howl from the Morse toilet. No!
Echoing through the entire household. No! And it does have the 16 gigs internal memory or storage, of course. It also has a Tegra 4 chip, so super fast processing speed, which is a total plus when it comes to gaming on this device. It is really, really fun. Now, this gamepad, kind of interesting. So the way it's set up, it's very, very comfortable to hold.
Yeah.
Really comfy.
It looks balanced.
The place where the two pads are is perfectly placed. I mean, that's automatically where my thumbs go.
It feels like where would you rank it compared to like an Xbox controller? Because it seems like it has the same ergonomic.
I would say this is like 70% there.
Okay. So slightly inferior
Slightly
that you were trading
inferior.
for
So
this mobile experience.
Is because if you look at this from the bottom, when you shut it, it's got to shut all the way. So they actually took these two analog sticks and they stuck them in a little bit. So when you move your hands over,
you're reaching in.
You got to reach in a little bit to actually hit the analog stick. So I found myself not using these as much as I probably should in certain games. I ended up using a lot more of this directional pad instead of the analog
because that is raised up farther.
Now, the analog sticks are great when you're just on the menu and you want to move this little mouse around and click on something. That's totally fine.
But if you're like an NBA player, then like that's great. You know, 'cause you just have huge hands.
Exactly. So it gets to be kind of a pain in the butt to actually use those. Now, on the back, they do have the triggers. They have the right and left click pads, and these are super clicky too. I really like how clicky these are. And then the triggers are really, really resistant. So when you press them down, you have to press them down really hard to actually get them to do anything, which is kind of nice. I like that. So I'm not accidentally hitting the trigger when I'm playing, you know, whatever shooter game or what have you. So it's actually kind of nice. The mouse navigation, again, is very cool. I love that they included that because honestly, you need that sometimes. Now, gaming in all, I would say I would probably use this more as a tablet and less for the hardcore gaming.
Okay.
So it's excellent for viewing like videos on it. The videos look great. I really, really like the screen resolution. The music is awesome. Typing, of course, is a pain, and there's no camera on it. The gaming is really fun. It's very easy. Although the Android games, they may or may not work with the controller because you know a lot of Android games are made for a touchscreen. They're not made for a controller. So the devices, it might not be compatible with the game itself. Also,
did you run into that specifically?
Not on the games that I tried, but I read a lot about it, and a lot of people did. So
that's hard when if you buy a dedicated Android gaming peripheral and like you don't have any guarantees that it will be able to be used by the hottest, awesomest thing that everybody else is playing.
Now, in here, so to get to this, you hit this middle Tegra button right here. Click on that, and you get to this thing called the Shield Store. So this is where you can purchase or find free games that are actually compatible specifically with the NVIDIA Shield. So all of these are different games that they've already tested and they've actually made compatible for the gaming console on here, the actual controller. So all of these are touted to be, you know, very, very good with this. We do have 2 games downloaded. We got, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog and Expendable. So if I go into one of these, I'll choose Expendable. I'm really bad at this game, by the way. Just letting you know now.
This is preloaded, or you're playing over the stream right now?
Yes, this is preloaded. So this was already downloaded onto the device.
What was the storage space on it?
16 gigs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you can always add on more gigs in the background. And I'll lower the volume so we don't have to listen to that too much. Play. Okay,
There
I'll
should
do
be
a
more
new
things
game.
exploding by now.
Nah, I'll do normal. Why not? I can actually just, you know, I can run around. It's very fluid. It's pretty simple. It's very fun. But I've found myself using this more as a tablet than a gaming product, which is kind of not what they were going for.
Yeah. I mean, it would seem like it's a tablet with qualifiers and a gaming device with qualifiers.
It's made for a very niche audience of, you know, those hardcore mobile gamers, those people that really, really want the new thing. And it's very, very cool. It's a really neat device. And it's so different from anything else on the market right now that I was just like, well, why don't you want it?
Sure.
But it's also for people that really are into audio and those video obsessions, you know, those video obsessors that really want to have a nice screen that's easily docked. I really like that. You can basically turn this into a dock for your movies and not have to have something sitting up behind it to, you know, prop it up.
But you have the limitations of that screen.
Yes, it does have limitations. You know, it is a little bit smaller of a screen. It's not as big as most of your tablets on the market. Well, any of the tablets on the market. So my pros and cons with this. My pros, very, very loud audio, really nice. Excellent screen. The controller build is super fun. It's a very, very comfortable machine to play with. And the processing power on this is great. I wish Tegra 4 was in all of my products. And the cons, of course, it is a little bulky. So when you sit this, you know, in your purse or in your backpack or whatnot, it is rather heavy and it's, you know, quite bulky. And the PC streaming compatibility is only available